Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Well, let's make sure that we're on here and it's working. Just give me a second to check on a couple of things. Whenever you get on here, say hello, and that way I can see that everything's working, right? And that works pretty good, right? It's easy for me on my end. So I thought today I would get on here for a while, and I'm going to just paint a simple watercolor. Now usually my tutorials are acrylic, but I tell you what, spring just brings out the best of us, I feel like, and it brings out flowers and bees and birds and different things. And so I was in the studio today, and I thought I'm just going to have fun with you guys and do a painting, a watercolor painting today. So you can watch along if you'd like. It might give you some inspiration. And if you don't know me, I'm Vicki Jean Wilson Art, and I teach you how to paint and love the art that you create. So I mainly do tutorials on acrylic, like I said, but sometimes I do watercolor. So I thought it was kind of a lunchtime break, and we'll just do a watercolor fun thing here today, right? And of course, flowers is on the agenda. Flowers are kind of a fun thing to do with watercolor, I feel like. Watercolor behaves differently than acrylic. If you've painted anything before with that, you would understand what I'm meaning. Now, I am not a real detailed person as far as my artwork. I like it to be a little rustic looking, a little fractured looking. So I am going to do my painting the same way. And today, in watercolor, you can't really control it too much. There is some methods that you, and some tricks, some tips that you can do to control it, but we're not going to worry about that today. So I am going to be full face on the camera some, and then I'm going to make the camera go down here so you can see the supplies that I'm using today. And just sit back and kind of enjoy it. And like I said, maybe you can get some inspiration. Grab your paints if you want to, and then we can do it together. And a lot of people, they watch the tutorials first, and then they kind of think about it, and when they have some time open, then they go back and they rewatch it, and then they paint them. So I'm going to change the camera now and show you kind of what I've got on the table. It's a messy table, so I try to clean up as best as I can, but you know, that's what artists do. They make messes. So we're going to have fun today, and let me change the camera and you can see what I've got. So as you can see here on the table, you should be able to see everything that I've got out. With watercolor, you need, of course, a watercolor pad, watercolor. You can get watercolor canvases, but I'm just using a watercolor pad. And let me show you what I've got. They come in different sizes. Here is a watercolor pad from Canson. I use this all the time. Now this one is a 7 by 10. The one I'm actually using today is a 9 by 12. It's 140-pound weight. It's cold pressed. Now we can go in more detail with that. But cold pressed actually gives you a little bit of a texture on the surface. The hot press paper is very, very smooth. So for this painting, I didn't need that. We're going to just do a floral. I don't need it really smooth as silk. So I'm using a cold pressed paper. I went ahead and taped it down here on the sides, and hopefully that stays for me. I've got my brushes here. So I've got my watercolor brushes. These are short little brushes. I need to probably get me some other ones. Sometimes I use my acrylic ones. I don't recommend that though, but sometimes I do. So I have got a variety here, and I might not use them all, but I've got a 1/2 inch. As you can see, a 1/2 inch flat. We know it's a flat brush because on the ends. I've got another 1/4 inch flat in case I want to get into smaller little detailed edges. I have got a number 8 round tell it's round because the end, right? And then I have a 4 round. So I have a larger and smaller round, and then I have a little liner, number 2 little liner here. So these are the ones that I've pulled out to use. I think these will do me just fine on painting what we're going to do today. I also have a pencil and I have an eraser, and I never use the eraser here for the art, the pink. I use my artist eraser, and I have a couple of different kinds of these, but I like the little white erasers. So I'm going to move this over, and of course I have my water, got my clear water, clean water, and then my paints here that I will show you. Let me move this over. Hope everybody survived the storms and things. We didn't get it bad here, so I'm very thankful for that. There was some wind, but it wasn't even as strong as they were kind of predicting. So I'm glad it wasn't, right? Okay, here is my paint. Now, watercolor paint either comes in the pans, which is what this is here, or it comes in tubes. So today I'm going to use my pans here. And if you notice, I have 2 here. I've got this set right here, and then I've got this fun set. Oh my gosh, guys. This is my fun set. This set here is a more of a glittery metallic. There's some metallics in here, and you probably won't be able to tell that, but there's some pretty things in there. So what I usually do is, for myself, I kind of splurged and got this a couple of years ago. What I usually do is paint with this, and then later, if I want to add some little touches of metallic, then I use this here on the edges, especially with flowers. So we're going to go ahead and cover that one up, and I'm going to use this right here. I've got my whale here to kind of paint with and mix my colors. And like I said, I have got, this is kind of off the cuff kind of painting, just a fun thing, not to stress out about it, not to worry about it, just have some fun painting, just a lunchtime kind of fun painting. So I've got my pencil and I'm going to sketch out on my paper. I've got, like I said, got my paper already laid out, taped down. So I'm going to sketch a bit, and I'm thinking about a flower, maybe a couple of flowers that we can do today. And you want to do it not too dark, but in this case, for you guys to see, I probably need to do it a little darker. Let's see, let's have some kind of leaves coming this way. We're going to make a larger flower probably here. So when you sketch, you know, you can look off of something, or you can just kind of do it from your mind. That's entirely up to you. Just kind of making the bell or the bottom part of the flower. And I want this one to be the focus. I want this one to be larger. I've kind of got it angled, going towards the right hand side. Now I'm just kind of adding a little bit of strokes here. I don't know whether I'll go over those or go under them. It just depends what happens when I start, right? So that's kind of the size that I like. Now I have my eraser here in case I don't like something, right? And that happens. So I believe since this is a little too small for me, so I'm going to come up and pull it up a little bit. This one might need to come up a little bit more too. And we can play with that later also. I'm going to do some leaves. You know, you got to have some volume. Just do some simple leaves here. Just do a couple. You don't want them all going the same direction, but I want to add some variety. Make that one just a little skinnier. Just add some variety to it. It's springtime and Things are just starting to bloom. So we got a variety of sizes. I noticed in my backyard, I'm so excited. I always like to look out towards the pond, and we have a variety of trees along the back fence, and it presents all kinds of times that the leaves will come out, I guess, you know, at the springtime, and I love to watch it. Let's see what I'm going to do here. Let me think here. Kind of a, if I want it coming behind here or not. Probably so. Probably so. And we'll just do, this is higher. Just little marks here to just kind of get some kind of look to it. I have some leaves back here also. But I noticed today that we've got some really light green coming out. Oh my goodness, I just get so excited about that. That's probably one of the reasons why I pulled out the watercolor. I don't have many flowering plants yet, but we're going to work on that. We'll see about that. I'm not sure about that. And then we'll add probably some little sticks and twigs and kind of fillers here, little berries or whatever you want to call them. You know, you're the artist. I always tell my students, you're the artist. When you're doing your paintings, you're it. You know, I can help you with inspiration or techniques or something, but you guys are the one doing your own. And it's just like when we teach children. You know, I was a preschool teacher for over 35 years. I know the importance of play, and I know creativity is important. And don't squelch that, right? Don't squelch it. So we try to let them do their thing. Guide them, let them do their thing. And it's the same way with adults. We don't really want that. We might want to be shown some things, helped out, but we don't really want somebody to do it for us, and we want to create our own work of art. I'm just kind of bringing some sticks in and just kind of see how the difference is to fill this up. I hope you can see some of that. I know you will when I start painting. You don't want to do it too dark because the watercolor is not going to cover it. And in some places it might not anyway. But for here, I'm okay with it today. So I've got some twigs and sticks and, I don't know, just some funny little berries here, things, some leaves, different sizes, different shapes. Let me see if anybody is commenting. I don't know. You know, sometimes this works and sometimes it doesn't. I don't see anybody. I know there's people on here, but I haven't saw anybody say hello. So say hello to me, guys. Say hello. Let me get me a little drink here. And we'll start in. Let me show you. So after we sketch it out, something on my tongue. Probably a brush hair, right? At least you don't stick, you got to be careful. Don't drink the paint water, right? And until you've experienced that, you have no idea what that's like. Because it is true. It happens. So I try to, when I do my lives, because I'm busy and thinking and concentrating, I try to put my water or my tea or coffee, whatever it is, way off to the side. So now I've got it. So if you see me reaching over here, that's probably what it is. So we've got our sketching, right? And now it's time to just kind of play and paint some. So I'm going to change it over. I've got my water, got my brushes ready, and we'll change it over and we're just going to start playing. have any questions, post them in there in the comment section. And hopefully that is working okay. And we'll start in. I've got paper towels. When you do watercolor, oh gosh, you know, you got to have paper towels. I tell you what, though, when I do watercolor, I do really love to use this blue towel. It soaks up so much more. But for a quick thing, it's if you were doing a larger watercolor, you know, I would use it. But right now, I'm just using my whatever I grabbed real fast. Let's get that off of there, whatever that is. So like I said, we've got it sketched out, kind of proportioned pretty well. I might do something else, maybe a little bit over here, maybe I think I will bring something up here to come out the side, just a tad. Yeah, I kind of like that a little, balance it a little bit more. And you know what? You can sketch this, but once you start painting, it takes a life of its own. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my 1/2-inch brush and get water on it. I've already activated my paints here, and what I mean by that is to spray some water on it, but I also have a fan going on in here because I get kind of warm in my studio with the lights. So I'm going to redo that. I've got just a squirt bottle, and I just activate that. So it dries out, the fan kind of is drying out. Hopefully you don't hear that. It's pretty soft. So when I'm looking at my colors, I don't know, I think I want to do something kind of a peachy, orangey, maybe color. I'm not good with flowers, so it's going to be a make-believe flower, I guess. I don't know the names. I have a friend that helps me out with that, but I don't know. This is just a fun flower, right? But we're going to start with the flowers first. And like I said earlier, I want to have kind of a rustic kind of look, not so detailed to it. So what I want to do with this, we're going to start with this large flower here. What I want to do with this is let the watercolor just kind of have a mind of its own, right? Now you can paint with watercolor, wet on wet or wet on dry. And in this case, it's going to be a wet on wet. I'm going to take some water, and I'm just going around the outside edge of this flower, this larger flower. Now you can't see that. I'm sure it doesn't. It might glisten or something, but I'm not sure if it does. Okay. I'm going to have to see. I hope this works. I haven't painted. I just got a new fan in here, and I haven't painted actually yet with it on, so we'll see how. Hope it doesn't dry out too fast. And while that is damp, I'm going to decide what kind of colors I want, and I'm probably going to mix a little bit of this Venetian red and some Rouge red. Add some water to it. Let's see what that does. Might add a little bit more water to it. And watch what happens to this when I touch that. See what that does? I'm going to add the petals. They're kind of here and there. See, it's just what it does. It spreads out. See? See how that works? Isn't that fun? That's just fun. It's soothing to me, too. It's just soothing. You can add a little bit more water. Pull it down some if you want. It's just play. It's just play is all it is. We like play. Play's a fun thing. I'm going to add a little bit of white in between this too. You'll see why here in a little bit. Add a little bit lighter touch on the outside. Okay, this part right here, I'm going to leave it dry in a few places, and when I leave it dry, you're going to see that that paint is not going to go where it's dry. So I'm adding a little bit more water down here, the bottom part of my flower. I'm not doing it in the green part, what I'm going to do for the leaves. I'm not touching that, it's just the flower part. Now I'm going to dip into that same color, but I'm going to add a little bit of a burnt sienna to that color. I'm going to mix that a little bit. It's a tad darker, should be a little darker, maybe a little bit more. Just kind of wiggling around. A little bit deeper color here. See, I left a little bit of white through there. I don't want it through all of it, so I'm going to kind of barely touch it up to that other part. Some of the white I want showing through. Okay, now one thing, when this is wet, and we put wet on top of it, right, wet watercolor, it's going to spread. So let me show you something. We need a little bit deeper at the base. And I think I'm going to pull in some warm sepia. I'm going to touch that bottom. Now, let's see if we can add a little bit of a deeper color. This is part where the bottom part of your flower kind of comes up. So we want a little deeper tone through there. Okay. I'll leave that alone right there. We're going to move over to our other flower now. And I want it a little bit lighter. I want it a little lighter shade. I'm going to still use the same shade. Still the same mix of color that I used. But I want it a little bit lighter. So I'm adding some water here first. Got a little bit on my brush, so it's okay. Color on the brush, so it looks a little pinkish. I'm touching to the color again. That's a pretty color too. As I'm going down in the bottom, I'm going to wet that there. The bottom of that flower. As I'm going down, I'm going to add some of this dark tone again. There's a little bit of sepia in the bottom. I'm using still the same brush. I'm just kind of getting it on using the corner of it, or like I said, I brought these brushes out, but I'm not sure. You know, when you get started, you don't know for sure what all you're maybe going to use. Darken this just a little bit more. I'm making more of a not so straight, you know, not so straight lines. Coming along the outside edge and adding some more. Make it give more, starting to get more of a flower shape, I guess, is what I'm trying to do. Just touching here and there. I want the top part of my flower to be kind of light and airy. A little bit more water to it to pull it out some. Now this over here is a very soft color. So we're going to add a tad bit of a French vermilion to it, just a little bit of a different color. Probably see it better. Like I said, these are just fun kind of flowers to do. You're basically just going to touch it around, moving your brush around. Try to soften that with a little water. If it's too dark, you can do a technique called lifting off. And if you can tell, I'm using water on my brush and kind of lifting off a little bit of that color. If it gets a little too dark for you, and that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted to lift off a little bit of that on part of my flower. Hope everybody's having a good day. I'm glad it's not storming right here now. Okay, as you can see, you're just layering. You're just basically layering. You're letting some dry. And like I said, I got a fan in here, and it is definitely helping it dry. Okay, guys, let's see. Let's add a little bit more dark. Now, this does need to dry some, but I would like to pull up some of this pretty soon. Not right yet, because what will happen, it will just kind of it's still damp. I can see kind of a sheen on there. So what we'll probably do is maybe start towards the leaves, kind of work on that. Let this dry some. I do like how this turned out. This one, it's just real soft. I can add a touch more of a sepia to darken it some more. Same way here. I'm going to touch a little bit. I don't really care if this kind of blooms out some, because it's a flower, and you know, it's okay. I'm fine with it. And what I mean by bloom is that if you notice when I touched this, it was already wet, and I added more, then it just spreads out. The colors just spread. Sometimes you don't want blooms, and sometimes you definitely want some blooms. In that case, I kind of wanted that. I want a little bit of a bloom to it. Let's go ahead and add just another little bit of color on this side. Give it a little bit, let's do a little bit French vermilion again. Let's add some water to it, and I want a little darker on this side. Shadows to it. Blend that out some. Like I said, these are kind of going to bring some of that pretty color over here some. I'm just dabbing it in places actually on this other one. See, normally I would not have used that dark of a color. You might not be able to see the pencil marks, but I can definitely see the pencil marks. So normally I would not have done it that dark. You usually just kind of want to do it just as dark, just enough that you can see it. Okay, I'm gonna stop with this one here, and I do want to do some more layers, but right now we're gonna stop. We're gonna start on some leaves here and some stems. I'm gonna use, let's see, probably gonna use my number 2 here in my liner. Get it wet, and let's come up and let's mix a little bit of a green here. I've got some forest green right here. I'll move it over here. Add some water to it. A little too dark for me. So you can either add some more water to it, and I'm just doing it with my brush, just dipping some more water in there. You could use a squirt bottle or whatever. I think it's easier to control with my brush. I'm going to add a little of this phthalo, phthalo green. And that changed it quite a bit. Let's just see what this looks like here on our paper. We'll do it up here. It's kind of a lighter green. I think I do want to add a little darkness to it, so I'm going to add just a little bit of raw umber to it. A little deeper tone of green. A little too bright for what I wanted, even though springtime is, here. Yeah, kind of toned it down a little bit there. Now, have you noticed that when the part is dry, one thing with watercolor, which is really cool, it's okay to make them flowers. I feel like I like the watercolor to spread, and that's how you get the wet on wet, right? But if you're painting wet on dry, which is what we are going to be doing down here, see, I didn't add any water down here, right? So I've got the wet on dry, and it will go exactly where you tell it to go. So it's not spreading out. Isn't that cool? It's not spreading out at all. And it will go exactly where you want it when it's wet on dry. The paper is dry, so it's nice when you want a little bit of detail and you just don't want it to go crazy on you, right? You don't want everything to bloom out and, like it does here. Now I'm just using my liner, just coming down. I've got a little bit of thin lines, I got a little bit thick lines. I'm fine with that too. I think one thing with watercolor, you can just play and play. That's what I like so much about it. Bit more water to it. If it gets too thick, just add some more water. Okay, I think I've got most of the I want to do something here. See, once you get started, then you might want to add or even subtract, or you start painting, it changes. That's why you do it the way you like. And I wanted to add a little bit, branch off of here, a little bit here. So it's pretty well balanced to me, the way I like it. I'm going to wash my brush out and then put it on my paper towel here. Now we're going to go, I believe I'm going to go to my 1/4" brush. I could go to a number 4 round. We're going to try the 1/4" flat brush now. Dampen it. Now I want my leaves a little bit lighter than this. So I'm going to get some yellow ochre over here. It here because I might want to add a little bit of that in And some of my leaves. You see, need to get it in view, don't I, guys? Sorry about that. So here I've just pulled it up with my brush and added it right here with some yellow ochre. Added some water with my brush, which that's what I do. And then I'm going to get some forest green again, which is pretty dark. Adding some more with that. So probably my trick here is going to be mixing these two. We're going to see what happens. And just a little bit of that. Play. You're just playing in water, colored water, guys. I'm just going back and forth. I'm not worrying about it. I'm just playing. Kind of got a mid-tone here, green. It's not as dark as this one here. I want to try it and see if I like it. It's okay, but I'm wanting something a bit more brighter. We'll pull some Indian yellow in it. Mix that up. It might take you a little bit, you know, to get the color you like. But leaves are, you know, they have different colors too. So part of these leaves that I want it light, maybe on the end, and darker at the bottom of the leaf. Let's see how that works. Let me do one at a time and I'll show you. Look up here at this leaf. I've done the light kind, the light color on the end, and now I'm just adding some of the darker green, and it will start blending with that lighter color. Now, if you ever find you get too much water, just get your brush and get it kind of dry on your paper towel and just lift something off like that. Just lift it off, and you can pick up some of that water. So let's do another one here. Let's see. Let's do one of these over here. It's a little closer to the monitor, and I'm going to do it a little bit opposite. I'm going to do the darker first, and I'm doing the darker at the base, and this is working wet on dry because I'm not wetting this. I'm going to do a little bit of a darker color on the bottom part of that leaf. Then I'm going to touch into my lighter green, and we're going to watch it just kind of play together. Now I dropped a water right there, and it really played, didn't it? But it's easy to clean that up. Had a water droplet fall. And just kind of clean that up like that. But see how the colors are just marrying each other? I like that. I like that part of it. There's some things in watercolor that you don't want to do that. This one, I like that. So let's do another one here. Do one here, darker at the bottom, kind of like a shadow part of the leaf. Clean my brush, get some of the lighter color. And while that's still wet, I'm touching on that, and it will just kind of make up its mind where it wants to go. Now, personally, I like these leaves better. They've got a little bit more of a, let's see, what would you say then? They're just kind of fun. They're just kind of fun. Now, I'm going to pull this out a little bit wider. And you'll do that. You'll kind of play around and, you know, decide that something needs to be added. So let's start another one here. We've got some lighter green here. Let's pull over here on this side, and we're going to do some leaves. Pulling in my light. Just pulling right in there. Just going right in there. If I want to leave a little bit of white in there, that's fine. I kind of like that look too. And whatever is dry, that watercolor will not go into it, which is just a fun thing. If you can see on this leaf, that dry part, that watercolor is not going to go in there. It's not going to touch it. Let's go up here and get another one. Let's do this one a little bit just lighter. Just add some lightness to that one. We want some dark, we want some light. Just kind of jump around and see. This one, this leaf here is in front of this one here, so I want this one to be lighter. So I'm just pulling in that lighter shade. And that back leaf is behind it, so I want it to be darker. I'm just kind of careful watching what I'm doing. Trying to. Can you tell the difference there? Because when we made this leaf lighter, it looks like it's forward, right? This one's darker, and we'll add a little bit more to that in a little bit. We're going to let it dry some. Let's go ahead and add some more leaves. Add some darker on this side. There's no right and wrong with art. It's plain. It's adventure. It's fun. Whether it's acrylic, whether it's mixed media, whether it's whatever it is. Watercolor. Just have fun with it. Stress, it's good stress relief. Very good stress relief. We all need that, don't we? We all need that. Making that leaf just a little bit darker back here again. Kind of going over it. We've got some tiny leaves up here, and usually, you know, tiny leaves, they're pretty light. So it's new growth. So I'm going to take this light green. It's the light green that I've already mixed right here. I'm going to add a little bit more of an Indian yellow, so I'm going to even make it a little bit lighter. Mix that up. I'm not going to need a whole lot. Make a lighter. Some of these over here too. I'll change my brush here, Blade. I'm going to change it to my 4 round. It's getting a little bit smaller area, and I need to kind of get a point back to it. It's kind of pretty color, isn't it? So these larger leaves, I'm going to add a little bit of light, and then I'm going to come back to the bottom part and some dark here, a bit there too. Let it just kind of land where it wants. But it's kind of fun. It's good to have a variety of the leaves, shapes, colors too. And you'll find there's places you want to go over again and add to. And now see, I like those colors there. I think they're really soft. They're really pretty. You've got some darker. You've got some real light ones over here. I wanted to add a little bit more to any of them I can. Better if you wait for that to dry, which these are. That fan's sure helping it to dry real good. Okay. Now, these are dry now. So I want to do a little bit more to the flowers. I'm going to go ahead and get my 1/2 inch flat, and I would like this part to have a little contrast, more of a contrast of color. So therefore, I'm going to add these petals right here. We're going to add more of a deeper kind of a red. So I'm going to use Venetian red and make a mixture here. Let's see what that looks like here. I'm going to do it right above that brown. Look like petals here. See, just that extra little bit of layer of color. Add so much. And just a little bit over here too. Come out above that brown. To leave that alone right now. I'll leave it alone. I think. Well, maybe not. Maybe not quite yet. I'm going to get some lemon yellow. I'm going to touch the top of a few places at the top of those petals. And that really puts on a show now. We've got a little bit of extra color popping through there. I hope you can see that. I'm going to do it on the other one too. A little bit of lemon yellow. I'm touching just, and you can see I'm just kind of barely moving my brush, just kind of a hit and a miss. I'm not brush stroking. I'm not doing that kind of thing. You don't see any strokes. It's just a little bit of a color. Lemon yellow will really, let's see what happens to our leaves here. We add some. This is when we play, right guys? This is when we play. Add a touch of lemon yellow to some of these. Lemon yellow is a real bright yellow. But we've already got our foundational paint on here. See, here's the lemon yellow right here. There's the sample. I've got some green on that one. But it's a bright. See, it's a bright yellow. It's pretty. I want to add some highlights too, you know. Now you got to watch me because I like to add, sometimes I get carried away, so I need to stop here in a little bit. But every layer adds something. Let me grab me a little drink here. Oh, I see Denise. Hi, Denise. Hi, Guadalupe. Good. I was hoping somebody might want to watch on their lunch, but you never know. You know, everybody's got different hours of lunch, and so it's good to see you. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more of the warm sepia down here on the bottom. And just a little bit more depth to it. Same way over here. Okay. Now the little small little berries. I don't know. We could add whatever color we want. Let's see. What color do you guys think? Whoever's on here, what color do you think we should use? Let me know if you can on the chat thing. You know, we've got some kind of a peachy color, some greens, shade, a little bit of yellow. The phthalo blue is pretty too. We could always do browns, keep it more neutral, and do a raw umber. That will pull the brown in from over here. So nobody has commented that I could see that pulled up, I don't think. So we're going to do it. We're going to go brown. I'm going to use my 4, and I'm going to go to raw umber. I'm going to see what that kind of looks like on here. And they're just little berries. Can you see that? It's not bad. I don't think that's bad. You can pull them on down, make more of a longer berry stem. I'm not doing these perfectly round. I'm just taking my brush. If you can see, my hands are kind of wiggling a little bit. They're birds have been chewing on some of them, eating them. They're not perfect. I'm not going to stress over if they're perfectly round or not. Just having fun. De-stressing. Watercolor does that for me. I don't know if you've watercolored before. I have a it's called PJs and Paintbrushes painting membership, and you ought to maybe check it out. It's very economical. We paint every month. We you can watch it 24/7. You don't have to join us live. A lot of people don't. A lot of people maybe watch during the live, but they don't necessarily paint, and they enjoy doing that. And then when they have time, they will go back and they will look over everything. Pull these down a little bit more, a little farther. Okay, got some berries there. And I could even, I've got some brown on my brush, a little bit, not much though. I could add a few of the leaves, add just a little layer of some of that raw umber in the leaves, and it kind of pulls everything together. It does, just adds a little bit of another color in the leaves, especially leaves. You can, it's just fun to play with that, I think. You know, you might want certain colors in your flowers, the leaves. Well, you probably do too, but you know what I mean? They're just different shades in the leaves. And you don't want to just use one color in leaves. Don't do that. We're going to add some more. Add some fun stuff to it. And what I even like to do, a little trick that I do, I enjoy doing when I paint flowers, whatever color that I paint in the flowers, I add a little bit into some of the leaves, not all the leaves. So this over here that I mixed up earlier, I'm going to add just every once in a while a little bit of a, let's see, let's get this one here, a little bit of that peachy color. You know, it might not be on all of them, but it's some of them. It just pulls your paintings together, and you can add as much as you want or as little as you want to the leaves. Sometimes I just do the center, sometimes I do the edges. I just have fun pulling in some of that paint color. And it creates your whole painting to be pulled together. And remember, on these two leaves right here, you want to make sure, and I want to make sure that the back one is darker than the front one. That creates that illusion of your leaf here that I'm painting right now is behind this other one. So I'm just adding a little more layer of the dark, another layer of it. See, that really made that pop out, didn't it? And what probably be good is add some of this lemon yellow on that top one, just a touch. That makes it pop out that much more. Now I see where we have to do right through here. Let's see if this is dry. It feels like it's pretty dry. So I'm going to do the greenery that's right underneath this flower, and I'm going to get, since that's not a real large area, I'm going to go ahead and get my 1/4 inch. And coming over here, and I'm just trying to use what I got now, guys. Just going to use what I've got left here. So I've got my darker color. Probably do want to add a little bit of a sepia to it. And maybe not quite that much. Pull in some here. And then I'm going to come around and do the leaves. That's helps the flower to grow right. Kind of come up. I'm going to leave a little bit of white through there in places. Make it come down a little bit more to rounded. Still playing. I might pull a little bit up here more. Maybe a little bit over here. Okay. Now this one here, I need to work on it a bit. So let's add some. There we go. It's better. So we need to add some leaves up around it too. And I'm just taking that 1/4 inch and I'm kind of making it jagged a little bit in some places. The base of this right here, I'm going to add it darker. So I'm going to add some more sepia to this green. Same way over here. Now it's still wet, so I'm painting wet on wet, so it's going to bloom out a little bit more. It's okay. I'm fine with that. I don't want it precise. Well, I tell you what, I've had fun doing this, guys. I hope you have too. Hope you've enjoyed watching. If you would like for me to do a certain painting lunchtime, then let me know. If you notice on the berries here, we've got darker and the kind of lighter places. You could also add a little bit of black if I wanted to. So ivory black. I've got it on my number 4 brush, and if you want to make it more kind of like a little berry, just touch some of those with a dot of black, and that kind of makes it almost look like it has a little center to it too. Adds a little bit to it. Might not want to do all of them like that, but a few, it kind of looks pretty good. I'm just dabbing, just dabbing. Make sure I get all my leaves attached to my stems, because it looks like they're just out there in the open with no stem. So you want to get those attached. I'm bringing a little bit of the brown, dark brown, into some of the stems, kind of going over. Not over all of it, but some of them. Add some depth to your painting. You don't have just one green stem of the same color. You leave some light and then do some dark too. Above all, have fun with it. It's just paint. It's just paint, guys. So, what I would do, once this dries completely, I'm going to take this and erase the sketching marks, but wait till it dries completely. And then pull it up. And I let this dry for quite a while, actually. Just a little bit more darkness right there. Yeah, because if you don't need your table, your work surface yet, then I wouldn't worry about it, Let it dry completely, let your paper dry real good, and then you can pull it up. And like I said, you'll be looking at this, you'll stand away from it for a while, you'll get away from it for a while. I will do the same thing, and then you just kind of change things up. You add to it, or you add to it or take away to it, or whatever that you do to create the art that you love, right? So thank you for joining me, guys. I appreciate it. I would like to do some more of these, and maybe some acrylic and some watercolor. But today was just, I don't know, just thought we would just do a kind of a spring watercolor flower, and hope you enjoyed it, guys. So I'm going to get off of here. You guys have a good rest of your day. I will put a link in the comments for anybody that might want to join the membership. It is a small group of ladies who just like to paint, things like this. We do mainly acrylics, but sometimes I throw in the watercolor at different times so they can learn to do that also. And thank you, Sue. And it's just a fun group. And I'm glad for those that joined me today. I know it was just a last minute thing, and I'm going to kind of do that occasionally, just pop in here and paint, because I do like to paint. And I think, why not have you guys share it, right? Share it with me. So you guys have a good rest of your day. Much love to you all, and we will talk soon. Bye-bye.